This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dying Times here. That's right, we're talking about it. Welcome to Derry, episode 1 on Kill by Kill. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from Derry, Maine, the titular Derry, Maine. This is the Kill by Kill podcast where we're dedicated to celebrating the least discussed component of any horror film, the characters. We're going to unpack all the glorious details of episode 1 of Welcome to Derry in the hopes that a local resident's untimely end is just the beginning of the jokes we might make at their expense. As always, there's only one person I trust not to turn me in to the local movie usher who undoubtedly has the most power of anyone in this godforsaken town. The one, the only, Gena Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gena?
Just kicking back, watching the Music Man. Nothing's going to happen to me.
Nothing's going to happen to me. So right off the bat, we're going spoilers. But before we get to that, just overall overarching how you felt, without dipping into spoiler territory, about episode 1 of Welcome to Derry.
I'm gonna, we'll get to, I did like that huge zagging on the audience at the end.
Sure.
That was nicely unexpected. Mm-hmm. Other than that,
Listen, the pilot episode of any series should not be the best episode of that series. I'm sorry, think of all of your favorite shows. If the pilot is your favorite episode of it, that series failed. So there's always that. That being said, there's a lot of expectations riding on this. I think it's been hyped up a lot, almost as if HBO would very much like this to be their Stranger Things. Certainly enough, Stranger Things has copped enough from it, both in book and movie form, to state that it should be the reverse. But what are you going to do? I'm with you. I'm more of the it's fine territory here. There were things I loved about it. There were things that I didn't care for. Am I hoping that it gets better? Absolutely. Are there signs that it might not? Absolutely. But let's get into that in spoiler territory. So if you haven't watched the show quite yet, or you haven't caught up, pause right here or re-download it. But let's get deep into this. I enjoyed seeing the Standpipe. When you like seeing iconography more than you like an individual character, you might be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of, as any Stephen King fan will do, a lot of Leo pointing.
Sure.
As soon as I saw there's a character named Veronica Grogan, mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that's a minor character in the book. Yeah. I mean, I don't think she's going to serve the same purpose. But, there's also Matthew Clements. These are all the names of children who later die in the book. Now that's not to say I don't think that this Veronica Grogan is going to meet the same fate. Mm-hmm. But there's there's a reference to the Paul Bunyan statue. There's a lot of here's your Easter eggs, kids, and it's like I guess.
Yes. I do think here's the opportunity I think this series has. Because whenever we have encountered it in media, even when it comes to the book, It's either telling us something that happened in the past, or we're watching a group of people trying to survive the present. So when we meet a bunch of the adult versions of kid characters, we obviously know that they managed to survive their first encounter with Pennywise. But for the majority of the times that Pennywise has awoken from his slumber, the people he encounters do not win. They do not survive. So what I enjoyed particularly about this episode was it sets up a system where we're going to meet a lot of people who realize there is such a thing as a murderous dream demon clown in town. And before they can tell anybody, they get chewed up and killed.
Right. And it does, I think it's sort of amusingly, sets it up so the audience is going to be, well, this is just it again. They've got the group of the kids. They're all the underdogs. You got the one Jewish kid. You got the one girl. You've got the one, kind of, nerdy kid. She's even, they're hearing voices in the pipes. And then it's like, oh, wait, no, all those kids are dead now.
Yeah. And speaking of characters, we do have Teddy, who is a Urus. So he's in that family line. It does somebody
I've been reading a little bit now. One of the issues with this is that the timelines don't really make much sense.
Okay,
at least as in terms of whether you're following the movie's timelines, which of course took place 40 years later.
Yeah, because the first one's 89 and the second one occurs in 2017.
Right. And this is the early 60s, I believe.
62 by all accounts.
But somebody said that he is that Teddy is the brother of Stan's father.
Okay. So an uncle, as it were. Would be uncle. We don't really know if he's long for this world because we don't see a dead body, but we also.
I'm pretty sure that everybody except the girl,
Lily and Ronnie.
The girls make it.
Okay. Which is like crazy. The fact that Phil's sister gets it is crazy.
Yeah, that she comes out with a little child's severed arm. Now, I mean, I realize again, that It Chapter 1 started out pretty horrifically with a child getting killed and losing an arm in the process, and and again, this feels like a big old wink at the audience, but I hope that the entire season is not going to be just that.
Yeah, I do hope so too, but I do think there's going to be a fair amount of it because if all of these kids made it, it wouldn't have the power he has. We'd be running into the Chapter 2 problem where we're semi-defanging the power of Pennywise because he can't just kill people off willy-nilly. And it's kind of like, but that's what he is. He's a murder clown. He has to be murdering in order.
Right. They need to emphasize that no child is safe.
Yes. So in terms of the math, I do think we are coming up semi-close to that 27-ish years, because if you add 27 to 62, I do think you come up with 89. And then the 89 to 2017 makes some amount of sense. It's close. It's close-ish. But I don't think there's an alarm clock next to Pennywise that's waking him up. It's when he feels peckish. But if he did have an alarm clock, is it set to radio, or do you think he has one of those clangy bells? He seems like a clangy bell dude.
But you don't think he has like a novelty clock or anything like that? I used to have a novelty clock. It was a wolf playing the saxophone and singing a groovy little song.
Oh, see, I like this. Yeah, unfortunately, I did have a certain amount of clown-related accoutrement in my childhood bedroom. I did have one of those lamps where it's the clown holding the balloons and the balloons.
Patrick, no, I did too.
I think you were handed one out of a hospital, Gina.
Like if you were born between like 1970 and 1974,
this
like
is what you were given.
They sent home that clown lamp with you when your parents took you home.
It's that old Wayne's World joke of like, Frampton comes alive. You were just handed this as a Caucasian. So I had some needlepoint clown things. So my relationship with early clowns are not great. So when murder clowns come up as, a genre, I'm akin to it. I wake up and pay attention. I don't always enjoy the end results, but at least when it comes to Pennywise, I'm mostly getting what I'm paying for here. That being said, we have any more observations about because you do want Pennywise must have a level of a bedroom because he's in the sewers and there seems to be a lot of free flowing furniture underneath Derry.
you think he just sort of plucked like random bits of furniture that he likes and then just sort of decorated his little hovel with them?
I wish I could come up with my own, but I've been provided what I think it looks like, and it comes from the motion picture Freddy versus Jason, and that is Jason's Murder Island bedroom. I think it's a lot like that. The picture of him sitting on the corner of his bed, you're like, where the fuck does this come from? It's one of Freddy's weirder dream sequences where I guess he's trying to provide Jason with a home. We're not talking about Freddy versus Jason, Patrick. Get a fucking hold of yourself. Okay.
I was gonna say this is like the second or third time I've had an intense conversation with you about Friday the 13th. I feel like we need to. Are we gonna go back and do them again,
Gina? I think we might. I don't know. Listen, the reason the podcast started was Friday the 13th. And there's a reason I started a podcast about it because Becky said, you have to talk about this with someone who is not me. And you, for some reason, said yes. And now you're shackled to this shit nearly 10 years later. What are you getting out of it? It's debatable. What am I getting out of it? Debatable. Hopefully the listeners are getting something out of it. From what they tell us, yes, but I don't know. The proof is in the pudding, and I'm not really going to eat the Jell-O right now. What were we talking about again? Oh, Welcome to Derry. So the first person that we meet is young Maddie Clements. Maddie Clements appears to be coming from a very troubled home life that has left him with a crippling pacifier addiction. So before we really get into Maddie as a character, and it's debatable that he's actually all there, maybe we'll learn more about him in flashbacks as we go. But when it comes to pacifier things, was this something you had to deal with your kid? Because my kid had a real pacifier thing that was a pro for a really long time. It was a natural good.
Not pacifiers, but she was a thumb sucker. So same diff.
Same diff. Hers was attached. Ollie's was separate. I hate to name him, but he was a baby. Like he didn't give himself a fucking pacifier. We did. We were told at a certain point, I think it was around 2-ish, just before he turned 2. We had a doctor's appointment, look inside the mouth. Teeth are going to start. He was a late bloomer when it came to teeth. As soon as they started to crack through there, when he was about 18 months, she said, all right, if he's on a pacifier, you got to knock that out. Otherwise, you're going to deal with all sorts of tooth problems. I'm just telling you right now. I know it's tough. I know it's going to suck, but this is what you got to do. And so we had this rather adult level conversation with him, as much as you can have an adult conversation with a kid who's that many months old. And we're like, I know you love this pacifier and I know what it does for you. It makes you, it makes you feel happy. It makes you feel like there's a place you can go. It's understandable why you're into it, but it's going to mess up your teeth. And so we have to say goodbye, and we're going to work on how do you want to say goodbye to Foss, which is what he called his pacifier. And he's like, I want to have it for one more night and then I'm done with Foss. And this set up the pattern for him with almost everything else in his life when it came to these stepping up a level in terms of growing as a kid. You're going to have to learn how to poop and pee in a toilet. You can't be in a diaper anymore because you're going to be going to preschool. All right, I poop and pee in a toilet now. Once he decided, that's what fucking happened. When he's like, he used to sleep in this tent thing that was, he just liked it to be dark. And so he asked, what's underneath the tent? And we said, that's your crib. That's what most kids are ready to sleep in. And he goes, I sleep there now. That's what he's always been. He just made these decisions, would walk away from these things that he depended and relied on. And it's inspiring to me because I have difficulty leaving things I rely upon behind. I can't accept reality like that. And he really can. And it's very inspiring.
Well, that's actually a credit to good parenting.
Well, I think there's some it's a blend of both, but I'll put all the good parenting on Becky as
he feels that he'll still be safe when he makes changes in his life like that.
Sure. Yes, he's not. There's part of him that is very safe that he will not be sent off shipped off to live with the circus from now on. Whereas I didn't always feel that way, so that might say something for me. But I can only imagine in 62, right, where this is this thing that as growing up, we probably knew but didn't know at least one kid who was kind of the same way. They had one thing that they were Linusing into their tween years.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen someone with a pacifier.
It's unique.
But certainly I knew one or two kids who were still sucking their thumbs at that point. Not like openly, but like certainly like to fall asleep.
Right.
It's just as you say, Linusing.
Yeah.
And so I think that the pacifier thing is a little weird. I think that they wanted it mostly to have the visual of it just flying out into the night.
Yeah.
To indicate, well, that's the end of him, and which it's effective enough.
Yes, I do wonder if we're going to get 7 more episodes of us flying with an object into the sewers so they can give us that same opening credit sequence. If that's really something that's going to present.
At 1-800-Flowers.com, we know that connections are at the heart of being human. Whether celebrating life's joys or comforting during tough times, 1-800-Flowers helps you express what words can't. For nearly 50 years, millions have trusted 1-800-Flowers to deliver thoughtful gifts that help create lasting bonds. Because it's more than just a gift. It's your way of showing you care. Visit 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO and connect today. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Yeah, I mean, I do, I do kind of wonder just how many episodes of horrible things happening to children people are going to want to watch.
But that's what you're signing up for. Like, you can't wander in this not knowing what.
Because like that opener for It Chapter 1,
right?
Both in the book and in the movie, is such a holy shit, anything can happen. Kind of setup.
Yeah.
But like, you don't actually, at least in the movies, you don't see like it. Of course, it's subsequent and previous children's deaths are spoken about.
Yeah.
but you don't really see it. Like, we don't see, like in the book, obviously, yeah, there's some of the most horrifying scenes are the interludes of other children meeting their demise at the hands of Pennywise.
Yeah.
But some of those you can't show in a movie. You just can't. You can't be showing a kid getting their head ripped off. You can't be showing whatever the fuck happened to the kid with the blood sucking things, which I can't even, like, to visualize that happening. It gives me chills. Like, to imagine it, let alone what it would look like if somebody tried to do it in a movie. But I'm just wondering, is every episode going to have this elaborate set piece of, someone sort of getting entrapped in what seems like a benign situation that turns weird and then horrifying and then deadly very quickly?
Yeah. It's interesting here because it both sets up very things that you expect to happen and things you don't expect to happen. And what I like about it is Maddie's very tiny. And I don't mean that in I like to see tiny children get it, but it's going after somebody who's already vulnerable.
Right. And he's got a black eye and he's on his own by himself. So obviously he's already vulnerable just by the sense of, presumably being an abused and neglected child. He's
terrified by his family. And so, of course, what does Pennywise choose as his greatest fear is a nuclear family of 2.5 children who give birth to a half-winged murder cherub.
Yeah, the CGI is not great.
I don't know how you can realistically make a murder cherub happen. And that's whereas the skin lamp was better rendered, but then I'm kind of like, are we really evoking real, like, that's where I was kind of like, is there a taste level thing that I dislike about this? Because the problem is that we are also coming up against, this is the second now of two limited series, within a very short time period that have evoked the Holocaust and Holocaust imagery for shock value and not the time, folks, not right. The time. Yeah. The other one is Monster, the Ed Gein, whatever you want to call it, thing on Netflix. Where you and Megan would tackle things as a special.
We were thinking about it because you're like, absolutely not. No. I want no part of that.
Don't need it. It's not something I desire. I glean what I need to from the both of you, but that is a scratch that I don't need itched. A question I don't need answered.
I mean, I sort of get, why they used it here because he is Jewish.
Right.
And in it chapter 1, Stanley was tormented and haunted by a painting by a Jewish artist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So, it's, I don't want to say it's fine, but like, I don't find it as tasteless and a cheap shock tactic as it was used in Monster.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like there was a lot of cheap shock tactics used in Monster.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's literally, he's like, fantasizing about like Holocaust imagery. And it's just like, nope.
Whereas Lily, the girl who's tortured by others for the sin of her father being mangled by the Mangler Pickle Edition?
In a pickle factory.
In a pickle factory.
I mean, you got to admit, that is a pretty funny way to die.
I mean, in terms of hilarious, yeah.
I mean, I love pickles, so it would be, my family makes jokes about how I'm the one who last, hey, you gonna eat that pickle, and so I would absolutely get torn up in a pickle mangling machine.
I just love someone on the right side goes, what if there was a Mangler, but Pickle Edition? Like, how is this? Do you think we can make our own? Like, how do we copyright Mangler, but for pickles? Is that something we can do?
is way more esoteric than my vital juices.
It is. Can we make a t-shirt that sells less than My Vital Juices, but is a pickle mangler that specifically is labeled Pickle Mangler?
But also a pickle mangler also just sounds like a kind of weird cocktail too.
It's true. Yes. If you're a bartender, hit us in the titties if you have a drink called the Pickle Mangler.
But also, what kind of shitty kids make fun of
the fucking town is full of shitty kids and shitty adults. I mean,
because their dad died in an accident.
Her dad died in an accident, and like everyone bring pickles to school so you can douse her in fucking pickle juice. And then she's like, "I'm going to leave the rest of these in here." It was just,
she's like, "Well, I'm just going to go about my day."
Oh, this whole, honestly, this town needed to burn a long time ago. It just salt the earth.
And and her friend's like, "Oh, don't let the popular girls see you being sad about your dad."
Oh, I also love her, like, do my eyes bug out in these glasses? And Lily going, I can't tell her no, and I can't tell her yes. Like, I can't lie to her. I need to lie to her.
I also like that her friend uses the word ginchy.
Oh, ginchy. I like that a teacher farts in the bathroom.
That was a weird moment.
That's an odd one. That your conversation is interrupted by an adult farting in the bathroom. And that school has not changed a lick between then and 1989, which is absolutely totally realistic. But it also doesn't look better.
Yeah, no, I felt like I was back in South Jersey, baby.
Yeah. So Terry Terry and Phil are Cavalier and Clay of Derry. They make comic books together, and Phil is a fantasist who's always talking about aliens, which we do know are real. So in the Stephen King universe, and in particularly in Derry, Pennywise technically is absolutely an alien. So I do like how Terry kind of uses that against him at one point, where Lily's like, I heard Maddie coming from my pipes and I saw his bloody fingers. Like, is that fucking possible? And Terry's like, how can you poo-poo this when you're constantly telling me about the existence of aliens? And Phil's just like undone by the logic of that argument. He's kind of like, I guess I kind of have to listen to you. And then, Gena, the moment where I'm sure you pointed at the screen as hard as I did, microfiche.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
I actually said out loud, microfiche.
Microfiche.
And also a friend of the show, Mike, texted me and said, hey, I just want to let you know there's a microfiche scene.
I love it. This is what we're known for.
Yes.
What a thing. If you love microfiche scenes, have I got a podcast for you? Is it visual? No. They just talk about it, perhaps too often. But they look up an article, and this kind of goes to that thing we've referenced a whole bunch of times, which is if you have newspaper articles that are, kept alive through, this thing was happened. It was published. It's not just a rumor. It's not just an urban legend. And it's understandable that children don't know that. It is weird when adults don't know that. Now, we haven't really confronted that quite yet, but I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of it.
Remember that, that's the whole thing with Derry is that, adults are just looking the other way. This 8-year-old who looks like he weighs about 40 pounds soaking wet, just, went and, he's riding the rails somewhere now.
Like a hobo wafting on the scent of pies.
He went to join the Merchant Marine with Jack Kerouac.
So, yeah. And then, it leads up to meeting Ronnie, who is the daughter of the projectionist at the local movie theater. And so we're getting now a variation of the whole, a movie that comes alive, which obviously they play with in chapter 1 with the slideshow. And in here, I really like their use of the music, man. I think that's kind of an inspired choice.
Yeah, and it gets very creepy, and I like that.
Yeah. I just there's a lot to like here. So here's the other quick, and I think this is the briefest of conversations, because obviously I don't have time for longer than the episode actually exists, and we don't know that much. We can't prognosticate exactly what's going to happen, even though it's been sort of projected out here that when it comes to this military base and Major Leroy Hanlon, that we're going to learn that the military, obviously probably through the shop, although I don't know the shop will be named, but they're going to try to militarize Pennywise against the Russians. Which,
yeah, see, I told you that I'd read an article that kind of spoiled that aspect, and I was like, well, that is something I'm completely uninterested in.
But what I disliked about that article was they said this is something that's completely out of tune with Stephen King's Over. And to that, I say, I would denote that the shop also gave us Captain Trips in the Stand, and also thought, hey, this 9-year-old who can light fires with her mind, maybe that's the way we beat the Russians. So the shop does a lot of shady shit. This is not out of scope with what Stephen King's universe holds. Can they actually do this in a way that makes me care or interested? I'm not too sure. But I can't say this is out of line with what Stephen King does in terms of the military and Derry, because let's also keep in mind that Dreamcatcher exists in the same fucking town.
That's true. That's true. I tried not to think about Dreamcatcher as much as possible.
Well, spoiler alert, we're talking about it in January when we talk about all snow-based horror movies.
We're talking about movies in which monsters come out of your ass.
Butt weasels, I believe, is a technical term for it, Gina. Let's show some respect to the name Butt Weasels. So... and here's the other third rail we're running up against, which is also, racism is real. Racism was definitely real in 1962 as it is now, and even more so then in a very forward-thinking, outward projecting standpoint. What is going on with these guys who attacked Hanlon in the middle of the night? Is that a test? Was it a racist attack? Or is that just them testing him?
I mean, I have to assume it's a little bit of Chris Hargison revenge for the guy, giving him sass.
Yeah.
Being put on shit detail.
Yeah.
And getting back at him.
I can absolutely see that. It'll be interesting to see how this all comes together. Obviously, at some point, we're going to deal with the black spot, which is the thing that I'm the most interested in of this. But my guess is, based on how these things go, episode 5 or 6 or 4, 5, and 6 is where we'll get the black spot. Because that's how these things are structured.
I noticed the presence of James Remar, who could go, either way. He seems like he's, pretty stand-up guy at the moment, but he could turn bad. I'm used to James Remar usually playing a bad guy. But then I watched for the first time recently The Black Coat's Daughter, and he is a good guy in that, who unfortunately meets a very bad end.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for that movie, but that's another movie I could put in January. I got a lot of snow-based horror.
You could.
Oh,
that's another Oz Perkins, baby.
I love that movie. That still might be my favorite.
I don't know what took me so long. It was real good.
It's real good. It's a slow burn. It is unique, and I can see it not being everyone's vibe. It's also not going to be like everyone's going to be.
However, if you liked Longlegs, watch it, because
it's definitely in the same universe. That is taking place in the same universe.
Yeah, because they are definitely of a piece.
Yeah. And that, of course, brings us to Choose Your Own Deathventure, where we decide of the deaths that occur in this episode. If we were forced to die in one of those ways, what would it be and why? You can have your head blown apart by a fucked up murder cherub. You can be mauled by a fucked up murder cherub. You can have your arm eaten off by a fucked up murder cherub. Or you can be mauled inside of the Mangler Pickle Edition. Gena, what say you?
What did I just say? I said I get mauled in the pickle mauler.
I should have believed you the first time.
You should have believed me the first time.
I say I believe women, but did I when the rubber met the road, Gena?
Did not. Canceled.
Canceled right here and there. Of these things, I don't want. I try pickles because Becky loves pickles, and I do love pickled green beans. I'm okay with pickled carrots, but pickles. I've yet to find the pickle I really enjoy. Olives are even farther afield.
We'll just fight over over the pickles you leave behind.
That's perfectly fine. I wish I did because she loves them and I love her and I want to love what she loves. What are you going to do? She's just going to have to talk about pickles with somebody else, Gena.
Just going to have pickle by pickle.
Pickle by pickle. Just have you and
dill by dill.
Dill by dill. Oh, someone come up with that artwork. Josh. Anyways, that means I'm going to go with my head blown apart by a fucked up murder cherub.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know. That was pretty. While as silly as the murder cherub looked, everything leading up to that was very creepy.
It was very creepy. I don't think I was less creeped out by melting a Music Man either. So I think I'm just going to go with that car trip. Because I don't want to lose a limb. That's just the way it goes. But that just about does it. Gena, where can people find you on these here internets?
I write about movies and pop culture at my newsletter, GenaWatchesThings.ghost.io, and I am on most social medias under Gena Does Things.
Do it today, people. Check it out. This is going to come out first on Patreon. So Patreon people, this is the benefit of that. We unfortunately could not figure out a way to do a commentary this month. So you're going to get access to this first. And then it'll come out on main feed. But if you're not a Patreon supporter, maybe you should consider becoming one because we often don't miss. We have done commentaries on the entirety of the Halloween series on all Friday the 13th and lots of interesting detritus in between, including Children of the Corn. So that's a lot of good stuff if you want to join the Patreon and help support us here. And everyone else, find us on the socials, talk to us on Discord, Spotify, or YouTube. We might have to knock out Spotify at a certain point. They are not a good company. We're running out of good companies. Wait a second. There are no good companies. Shit, Gena. Shit.
I know. It never ends.
It seemed like a good idea to attach ourselves to companies. And then, bad idea. What are you going to do? I'm not sure. If you got answers, hit us in the titties. That just about does it for this episode. We'll probably do a wrap up, or you tell us in the comments how much more dairy you want in your diet. That just about does it. The body count will continue for myself and for Gena. Bye-bye, everybody.